All right, this video is assuming that you have built a Google Classroom at some point in time, and you know the difference between a stream, classwork, people tab, and grades, and all these different features. We're going to be focusing on the classwork tab and specifically in the create button, the assignment option, and some of the different options that you have that are built into this. And we'll also talk about topics a little bit too. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to give you some different scenarios of how you can utilize the assignment. Now, the assignment is very clear that it is a give and take between teacher and student. There's a communication there where the student is receiving an assignment from the teacher, and the teacher is then giving feedback through that whole process. Okay, so let's start out with an assignment. It'll pop out full screen like so, and you can give it a title, instructions. You can add items that you already have or know exist, or links to resources, or you can create on the fly. And then you have some options to choose multiple classes to post to. You can choose specifically which students you want to post to, set a point total, due date, topic. That's all we'll start with for now. Okay, so for this first one, what we're going to do is we're going to do no attachments. Let's say that a student has to do an assignment and you have just given them instructions. So here we go. Okay, so I've given a title and I've given instructions. They're not that great, but hey, it's an example. And now I'm going to add the link to the website as well as a video. As I add a video, I have the option of finding videos that exist in my Google Drive. I can also search YouTube from here. And at any time, if I do not want one of these, I can cut them out like so. I'm going to go ahead and keep this class. You can pick from any of your Google Classrooms that you may have, and you can isolate which students this goes to by selecting individual ones. I'm going to keep all students. I'm going to set my point total to 10. I'm going to set a due date. Due dates are extremely important because it integrates with Google Calendar, and then you receive the alert of when things are due as well as the students. You can even specify a specific time of when it needs to be turned in. I'm going to set a topic. This is really important. Okay, and then you can also attach a rubric. I'm not going to do that for this video. That's for another day. And then before I post this, I have a few more options before I press the assign button. I can choose the assign it now. I can choose to schedule it, or I can save it as a draft and come back to it later. So real quick, I'll just show you what the draft process looks like. If I want to work on it later, it saves it. It'll sit right here. It'll show that it's a draft. If I click on the three dots here, I can hit edit. It'll pop out again, and then I can continue editing and manipulating it. And I can save it as a draft however many times I want. Keep in mind, if I hit the X, it won't save my changes. I'll go ahead and assign this now. Okay, and now the students receive it. If I go to the stream, you can see that it has an upcoming assignment right there. If I go to classwork and I click on Google Calendar, I can see that it will be in my Google Calendar. And as you can see, the assignment is right there living in Google Calendar. Whether I'm looking at the week or the month view, I can see that it is there, and when I click on it, it shows me the link directly to that assignment. That's handy for you as well as your students. All right, let's go back to Google Classroom. Let's see what it looks like from the student side of things. And so when the student visits Google Classroom, they may have to refresh it, but it'll be in their classwork page here. They'll see the assignment. It shows when it is due. When they click on it, they can view these links, or they can view the whole assignment from here. I encourage students to use the view assignment because then private comments can be given as well as read. So then the student would be able to access these links. I don't need to open that. I'm going to close out of that. And then if they want to watch a video, this is nice because it pops out in a blacked out area. So that way you're not actually visiting YouTube, and then the student could watch it and go from there. Okay, now when the student is ready to turn in the assignment, because I did not attach a document for the student to actually turn in, the student will actually have to do this from their own Google Drive. So when they hit add or create, they can actually create a document fresh from here. And that is nice. I encourage that over students going to Google Drive first and creating their document. And the reason why is because it'll actually put their name on this document as well as absorb the title. But just for time's sake, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show that they can attach items from their Google Drive, and they'll see any recent assignments that they have worked on. I'll select this one because, well, it's not anything really. And the student is turning this in. It takes some time. When they're ready to turn it in, they can actually add multiple. I'll show you that they can create new documents here too. They can actually add multiple documents right here within one assignment, and it'll open up a tab automatically for the student, so that way they can start working on it. And you can see that it puts their name on it as well as absorbs the title of the assignment. That's why the title of the assignment is actually pretty important. So now the student has these two things. They can X out of either of these. So that does not mean it's removed from Google Drive because, for example, students do this sometimes. They'll hit this X. It'll disappear. And then what they need to do is they need to just find it in their Google Drive. And there it is, just sitting there waiting for them to reattach it. They didn't actually lose it. It's in their Google Drive. They just removed it from Google Classroom and detached it. Right? The student could then work on the assignment, etc. I'm not going to for time's sake, and hit turn in. And then it shows whether or not they want the two attachments turned in, and then they can hit turn in. And then what ends up happening is the student no longer has write access to this assignment. Now it's just view only. Then if the student needed to go back, let's say that you communicate to the student that they need to work on it some more, they can go back and hit unsubmit. And if they make changes to it, etc., and let's say they decided, no, I didn't need this attachment, and then hit turn in, then it's just the one document that they're turning in. Okay, so that was a lot of steps for the student. That's just giving you an idea of what that process looks like. All right, so back on the teacher screen, then you can see that they can view the entire assignment and they can see the student work straight from here and give grades and feedback appropriately. And this video is not necessarily about the grading process, but I'll go ahead and show you the grading tool real quick, because then you are able to quickly switch between students straight from here and give them feedback, give them a grade, and return the item to them. All right, so that's scenario one. You created an assignment where the students just turned in a document. You attached a couple links as well as a video. Okay, so do that as well, practice that and try it. I'm going to do a second scenario where the students are able to also work on the same document at the same time. And so let's say you have a template ready to go. All right, and now the teacher is able to add this document, or they could create one on the fly. I'll do creating on the fly for the next example, but in this case, I have a template ready to go in my Google Drive. And so I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I already have it. You can search documents straight from here, and you can even search document types from here. I'm going to use this HyperDoc here. I like this one. And then you have some options here how you post it. So you can choose whether students can just view it, can edit, or you can make a copy for each student. So in this case, because they're collaborating together, I would choose students can edit the file. In this case, I would also select which students I want to participate. So if I want the whole class on the same document, I can leave this. But if I don't, I would need several templates, and I would need to also make sure that I assigned it to the correct students. And I would probably want to do some naming conventions here to help me determine which group is which. I'm going to set a point total here. We'll just do 10 again. I'm going to set a due date, and I'm going to set a topic. No rubric today. I'm going to go ahead and assign this right away. And keep in mind that the students are editing my copy. So if I don't want them editing my copy, I would need to make sure that I made a separate copy altogether. So let's get the student back in gear here. Click on Google Classroom, go to classwork. Here's the student. You can see this assignment. The previous assignment was already turned in. That's why it's grayed out. It'll have a bolded color letting you know that the student needs to work on this one. So now the student can view the assignment and see the directions as well as the space to turn it in. And they are working on this document here. So now the students would be able to work in this document simultaneously. They'd be able to visit any links. It's great to include links as well as a table in order for students to be able to have their information sorted out. And so they could be working with their devices side by side And then when they are ready to turn it in, then the students would then merely go back and then they would hit mark as done, because it is actually attaching that one document that they are working together on. So they'd hit mark as done. You would know as the teacher that they are finished there. So I'm going to move that over. And then the teacher is able to go into that document. It is essentially their document. And then the teacher would be able to view any work that was done in that document. So can edit. Make sure you understand that that is really your document being edited. All right, the third scenario is making a copy for each student. So in this scenario, I don't have a template ready in advance. In this scenario, let's say I'm working off the cuff here. It's the night before. I'm like, oh man, I really need to have a document ready to go for this assignment. And so you can create an assignment. And in this example, I'm going to do creating a document from Google Classroom. Okay, and so here the teacher can actually not just add items that they already have, but they can also create items on the fly, whether it's docs, slide sheets, drawings, or forms. So in this case, I'm just going to use a document. And not only that, but what ends up happening is it goes straight to the Google Classroom folder in Google Drive. So I don't even have to organize it. It takes a little time for it to load up a new document. And as you can see, it's automatically attached. Here I can give it a title. Then what I can do is I can just straight up give a couple boxes here. I'm going to use a couple tables and then what I'm going to do is give a little color, just making this as fast as possible. And we'll do green for the answer space. And in here, I'm going to say, okay, so now they have a space to respond. I'm going to go back to Google Classroom. You'll see that it says Untitled Document, but if I refresh this screen or if I save it as a draft and come back to it, it will show the reflected name of the document. Let me go back to it. See, document on the fly. I'm going to set this that each student gets a copy, and that's essentially going to a copy machine. You are giving each student a copy. They would have one in their Google Drive, and you would have access to those in your classroom folder in Google Drive. I can pick which classrooms this goes to, so I can select multiple classes. I can pick individual students if I want to, and I can set a point total. And we can set a due date. Again, due dates are very important because it integrates with Google Calendar, and then I can create a topic straight from here. But in this case, I'm going to set no topic just so you can see what happens. I'm not going to set a rubric for this video. Assign. Okay, now that I have assigned this, you'll see that I have these topics. I can quickly get to these topics like so. And if I click on all topics, I can see all of the classwork. You'll see that this one has 0 topic. It goes straight to the top. And so what I'm going to do is create a new topic. And you can create new topics straight from the create button, just like I did there. And then what you can do is you can actually drag these items in a topic and it'll automatically categorize it for you. You can actually even switch these if you wanted to. And so everything is drag and drop. It's very handy. You can also reorder these however you want by grabbing the entire topic, and it'll shift the order. It'll also shift it over here if you didn't notice. And here in a little bit, we'll get back to the assignment. So this was the assignment. I'm going to show you from the student screen what that looked like. So here's the student. The student will need to go back to Google Classroom, click on the classwork tab, and click on all topics. There we go. Now it's expanding out. And here you can see this one they turned in, this one they turned in, this one they did not. And I can view the assignment. If I look right here, you'll see that it has the student's name as well as absorbing the title of the document. The student can then participate straight here in the Google Doc. And really, if you're going to assign a document, it's always good to include links. You'll see that it has a turn-in button, but this is pretty much exclusive to Google Docs, unless Google updates this in the near future, I don't know. But at this point in time, the turn-in button is only in Google Docs. I discourage people from using this button, and the reason why is just because the other Google products do not have that capability. So if that's the case, it's just best if the student goes straight to the assignment and gets in the habit of turning it in from here. Now, what's great is even though I haven't turned it in, as a student, I, as the teacher, can go back, click on the assignment, click on who's turning in, who hasn't. Here's the assigned, here's the turn in. I can see the fake student's work here, and I can be in that document at the same time as that student and working on it and giving them feedback even though the student hasn't turned it in yet. So see, student has not turned in, but the teacher can still access and give comments, etc. Feedback will be in another video. I'm just focusing on the different structures of assignments at the moment. And so the student is now going to turn in this assignment. Let's go back to teacher mode here. And now the teacher can view it as well as give a grade directly on it. So you can see if I hover over here, I can actually give a grade straight from here. And then they receive it. Now, this is really important. When a student turns something in, you want to make sure that you return these items. And the reason why is because right now, this student, because they pushed the turn in button, you'll see that the assignment says view only. They can't actually do anything to it unless they go back and unsubmit. So when you have a student turn in a document like this, you are the owner. And so it's very important that you return the item so that way you are no longer the owner and you can give it back to them. So make sure you try some of these different scenarios. So when you hit the create button, you create assignment, make sure you try some different scenarios. Try adding something that is from your Google Drive. Try adding something that makes a copy versus view only. Try creating something on the fly, whether it's docs, slides, sheets, drawings, or forms.